everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome as we take a look at 7 game reviews today. Some of them are fairly hefty games, but remember, these are short reviews, just kind of quick roundups as we go throughout the week. So we're going to get started. Here we go. First, we have Sabobatage. The best part of this game is the name and the theme, because I do like boba tea. Well, I like it with fruit bubbles, not tapioca bubbles, but I digress. And here, you're making boba tea, but you're also trying to sabotage everyone else. Now, yes, granted, I probably should know what kind of game it is from the name and that description, but I gave it a try anyway. Here's how it plays. In this game, you are trying to make drinks. So drinks will start with a base of green tea or black tea, and then you have this little menu card that shows you other things that you can add to them. So I can make a fruit-based tea, so I might add to the black tea some... No, that's the topping. I'm sorry. So I'll add some honey lemon and then some lychee jelly, which lets me draw a card. Or I might do something like, let's see, I need a milk-based one. So I'll add some milk to this one and then add just boba and I'm set. There's also a special drink you can make that's just, let's see, it's on the other side of the card here, milk and taro. So there's different kinds of ingredient: passion fruit, aloe, pudding, red bean, peach, a wild ingredient. These are all ingredients that you can make and use to make different drinks. The way the game is played is, on your turn, you can draw 2 cards from the deck. Unless you have 2 or more drinks, then for some reason, hey, draw 3 cards. No reason for that, just you can do it. I guess they want the game to end quicker. Then there's action cards that you can play in your turn. You can play up 3 cards. You can play these cards in front of you, starting drinks. You can have up to 7 drinks in front of you at any point in time. You shouldn't do that because there's cards that let you steal things. Here you can make someone else skip a turn. Here you can steal an ingredient from someone else and put it in front of you. Steal 2 tea cards from someone. You can protect something with boba assurance. Make someone trash a milk ingredient. Negate someone's action. Put a random card from someone and put it in your hand. Just draws 2 more cards. Here, put a straw, and now that drink is safe from other people. And then, of course, the card the game is named after, Sabobatage. Destroy a total of 5 ingredient cards in the table from 1 or more players. All 5 cards must be declared before a player can play any counter cards. And that is kind of the way the game is going to work. So, you're going to be playing 3 cards in your turn after you draw cards. And then at the end of your turn, if you have 7 cards, you're kind of done. The first person to finish 5 drink sets is the winner. Yeah, you're just making boba tea and you are sabotaging other people. Stealing cards from other people, it is so boring and so uninspired. Nice quality cards, everything looks good, but a 3 out of 10, come on, add something to these games other than just collecting things and then ruining other people's day. There's got to be something else there. It didn't make me go buy a boba tea though, so I guess there's that. Sides is a party game from Captain Games, and in this you're giving clues based on some letters, but based on the cards that are on the sides of a group of letters. Here's how it plays. In this game, you're going to have 7 letters that are placed from a pile. You're going to be going through this pile over the course of the game. 2 players are going to be chosen to be investigators. This will start in between them, and from round to round, this is going to pass between them. Unless you're playing with only 3 players, then there's just 1 investigator. Everybody else are the witnesses, and they're going to be giving clues. So a card will be shown to the witnesses only, not the 2 investigators. The investigators will pick a random number, 1 through 8, or you can just pick yellow, green, blue if you want to play with only easy words. So let's say we said 1 wedding. So now the witnesses are going to give us clues. So they are starting with the outside letters here. So they might say marriage. At this point, we can make a guess. If our guess is correct, great. The word card is put away, the M is discarded, these get split, and we add cards until we get to 7 in the middle. If we're incorrect, the witnesses can say things like, that was a close answer, or that was nowhere near close. The witnesses can even skip letters if they want to go in between, but those letters are discarded and are gone, and the game ends when this deck runs out. You can turn a letter upside down, and I might say divorce. That means I'm showing that clue is incorrect. I can push a card up to say that clue is very important, or this clue is kind of important. As cards go away and we add more cards in the middle, eventually you will guess the card. You only have 1 guess per clue, and then this token moves on, and another card is put out for the next players. And we just keep doing this until this deck runs out. At that point, you're going to get a score, and you can see the score page here, based on the best scores if you get 17 cards through all these letters, which I doubt anyone's ever going to do. And you just see how high of a score you get, and then you can play again. I was very amused by this game. It works well. There's a lot of cooperative party games out there, but in this one, you really do kind of care about the score. Most of the time you play these games, you're like, let's just play for fun. This one, you're really trying to do well. You're trying to give good clues with those outside things, and you want to see how many word cards you can go through together as a group. You can play with 2 people, I suppose, or 3, but it's best with 4. It's nice to have that group of guessers guessing together. I think that it's a lot of fun. It's an interesting idea. It's not going to make you probably fall on the floor laughing. This is more of this could almost be turned into like a game show of sorts. And I still haven't scored like a particularly high score in the game, but I do enjoy this one, and it works well for large groups. That's side. Yahtzee Frenzy. I think, this is the dice and card game, I think Yahtzee gets a bad rap. I don't think Yahtzee is a bad game. You roll dice, that's the original roll and write, and you're trying to form different groups, and you can score Yahtzees and different things, and there's a lot of luck to it, but there's some decision making to it. But what if there wasn't? That's Yahtzee Frenzy dice and card game. In this game, players are going to get their dice, as well as a dice tracker card. You have a deck of combo cards, and you're going to put a certain number of them face up for each round of the game, depending on the number of players. In a 4-player game, there's 5. You say ready, set, go, and you start rolling your dice, and you're trying to get these combos. So maybe I want this low 5, which is 2 5s and 3 of something else. So there's a 2, and you're just going to keep rolling till you get it. Once you put dice in the card, you can't take them off unless someone claims a card. So I claim this card. I'll shout low 5, and I take the card. Anybody else who has dice in their card can take it off and restart if they want. But you can only take dice off your card once you put them here if you take a card or somebody else does. So then I can start working on another one. And we keep going until all the cards are gone. You're going to keep the cards that you've taken. If you get a card that says power up, you're going to draw a power up card. So power up cards are going to have special effects on them at the start of the next round after combo cards have been placed. You can roll 3 times to keep any dice before other players roll their dice. Or you can hurt somebody else. They can only roll 1 die at a time. Or you pick someone to duel. You both roll a die. Whoever has the higher number steals a card at random from the other player. And things like that. So that is how you play after all the cards are gone and you're keeping them. You go to the next round, putting out more cards. And the cards are pretty much all different things. I mean, apparently a small straight is now called the spicy burrito. But while the 3 through 6 is called the little enchilada, but you have a specific Yahtzee here. Wildest Dreams, 4 short doubles, that's easy. Mixed, what have you. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points is the winner. Yeah, it just roll the dice as fast as you can. And you know what? Even that wouldn't get me all in a tizzy about the game. I don't think I would be upset about it. It's those cards. Steal a card from someone else? Are you kidding me? That's tired and worn. So while the speed thing is okay at best, everyone's just rolling real quickly, trying to make things. What's not fun about the game is those cards. They kind of ruin it. So this one, unlike the last one, which was a 7 out of 10, this is a 5 out of 10. Hey folks, this Ahau Rulers of Yucatan, this is a tough one for me. Because I was really kind of intrigued by this game. I heard it was kind of a hefty Euro-style game. And, you know, as you Aztecs building the ziggurats and, you know, appealing to gods and things. So there's a lot going on in this game. It's a fairly hefty game. I don't have time to explain everything, so here's the briefest of overviews. The briefest of summaries here. You're trying to build up your pyramid, and you're trying to build buildings. These buildings will give you points. Building your pyramid give you points. There's other ways to get points. Each round of the game, you're going to be secretly playing cards from your hand, and these cards are going to allow you to do different things. But the biggest thing is putting your leader on the board, because that leader is going to let you put workers on these adjacent cities here to collect these tiles. You'll be using these tiles to summon gods. There's these temples where you have to like somehow use this move around, you always forget which god does which. You'll be able to use god powers by spending tiles and or using the ones in your pyramids to do special things. You'll producing very, very tiny resources to help you build things and deplete different spots on the board, which also, incidentally, is a time trigger to the end of each round where the gods will score, and by using god powers and being involved with them, you'll score points for that also. There's a lot more going on. I just wanted to give you kind of a showing of what the board is. This is the briefest of overviews. This game is dense in two different ways. One in rules, but two in looks. I'm telling you, the whole board, I'm sitting there going, what is going on? I'm trying to figure out. You want to, have workers in different spots. You can surround an area. You're looking at what god am I going to use? I'm looking at the side of the ziggurat. I'm looking here. I look at this, my player aid. What does that god do? And everything is just so, like the resources are tiny and the spots. And then you have these ziggurats and you put things on the ziggurats to show that you use that god. And it's so slow and so clunky. And there's interesting ideas, sort of. But I've seen in other games, I've seen build buildings and build a ziggurat. But everything is, I want to go to the same spot as somebody else. Okay, now we have a fight. Okay, let's see who's stronger. You're stronger, okay. So you lose, you got to move to a different spot. But your weapon gets to go up. And none of it was particularly fun. None of it gave me these I'm getting stuff. It was just, there was a lot of work. But the struggle beyond the player aids and everything else was just too much for me to bear. So I'm still not even sure I played it 100% correctly. It's just not that interesting of a game at all. 5 out of 10. I love the theme of Castles by the Sea. In this, you're a warrior with your sand castles and building sand castles, and they're being menaced by monsters. The giant, who's a baby. The dragon, which is a kite. The monster, which is a kitten. I like that theme, especially with the gorgeous art here from Brotherwise Games. In this game, it's more of an abstract game where you're going to be building sand castles. I'll show you. In this game, you're going to build a board, and the size of the squares out there is based on the number of players with some starting blocks here. Each player is going to get their own little board here. It tells you how to play. You're going to get some starting blocks and some starting units that you'll have. Now, the way the units work is going to be different from game to game. You all, as a group, will pick. So, for example, this big gate here can either be an arch, an aqueduct, a bridge, or a monument. Everyone's going to decide which ones you're going to use. Just like this person can be a princess, a wizard, a witch, or a sorceress. And how you put them out and how you get points for them is going to be different for each one. And so what players are going to do in their turn is you get 3 blocks. Plus, if you have anything that's destroyed from previous rounds, you'll get more blocks. The first block can go anywhere. After that, they have to be touching it somehow. And then it's possible that maybe you'll be able to place your units. You can place as much stuff as you are allowed to legally place. And all of that depends on the different cards. So, for example, this one here says, this one shows you how this tunnel's placed. It's going to be like that, and nothing can be in front of it. It's going to give you 2 points, and you also can't place in a tile with a friendly tunnel. So you can't have more than one of them on the same side, a tunnel to another tunnel. While the guard here must be a place adjacent to at least one open wall. So if you do that, you get the points at the top. There's going to be various amounts of points that you will get from building these blocks. And then it goes to the next person. Between rounds, you'll pick one of these 3 hazards. You're going to start with different hazards. This is the giant. Roar. And you'll move them clockwise. The 2 that you didn't move, you're going to flip a card over from their decks. And depending on how many exclamation points are now in total out there, that card will do damage. And then it tells you, like the dragon gets rid of all pieces and blocks from the top 2 layers. The bottom layer is not removed. And they do it to that entire row or column. So these are moving around, smashing pieces. But if your pieces get smashed, you have more pieces to build on a future turn. You end the game with the most points, you're the winner. Now, if you get stuff that's destroyed, it's not going to score for you anymore. But keeping things on the board from round to round, each time you're basically going to look at all the cards in front of you, and they're going to score based on how many of those pieces are off. So example, if I build the bridge, it's going to score me 2 points every turn. each tower is going to score me 1 point each turn as I pull them off. So the longer I can keep pieces on the board, the more points they're going to score me. At the end of the game, after a certain number of rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. Quality components, beautiful art. There's a lot to like about this game, and I think it's going to appeal to some people. For me, I'm giving it a 6, and I'll tell you why I'm not as excited about it. One is the cards that you pick. So it's interesting, you pick a certain group of cards. So I should show you here the rule book. The rules are, they stop here. That's it. And then the next pages here explain every card and how those cards are put onto the board in detail. That is a lot. That is a lot of stuff going on. And so many times I would build something and then on like a future turn someone would say, wait a minute, that's built incorrectly. Oh yeah, you're right. Because I had to put this block here. And as you build one thing, it might make something else incorrect. And so you're constantly checking all the different cards that you have to make sure everything's built. And it felt more like work than fun. There's some interesting ideas there. And then the monsters moving around or the hazards moving around, that drawing cards got clunky after a while. You're constantly drawing cards, but they go through pretty quickly. The monster blows stuff up. And it felt like that part felt very, very random. Yes, you can pick which hazard to move around, but you're going to pick one that doesn't hurt you. So you know you're going to get hit with them all the time. And it just was, to check what the monsters did, to check all the cards, to do stuff, all that overshadowed the cool part of the game, which is building those blocks and getting points. That part I like. I think that part's really interesting, but it wasn't able to overshadow that other stuff. There was just too much overhead for me to have fun with this game. But still, one of the best themes of the year, castles by the sea. Uluk! You know, we've often made jokes. In a lot of games, you have to feed your people. Well, here we go, folks. Finally, this is a game that is solely about feeding your people. It is the whole point of this game. Yeah, you build some monuments and some other stuff, but it's about feeding your people. In this game, you're trying to get a bunch of workers to get food. So I think before anything else, I should show you each tribe has their own player board. And these player boards are slightly different from each other. And as you collect food, you're going to be putting food on these different spots here. And sometimes you can process food. So if I put a food here, it can process into this. If I put it down there, it doubles it. So I would put 2 tokens for every one that I move through here. Here, for every 2 tokens I move down, it turns into 3 tokens. There are different types of ingredients. These aren't very useful, but these turn into food. These red ones are also food, but that's perishable food. You can't keep it from round to round. The green ones are like really good food, especially that delicious grub. These will give you a point, a happiness point as you eat them. And then sometimes this is poison, which you can use when you hunt wild animals, and some food is used for celebrations. So like I said, each board has a slight difference. Each food tribe has a different celebration food. You're going to be taking turns placing workers. You'll be placing workers around these spots up here to get happiness points and to build monuments on the board. You're placing workers here to hunt food down. There's different types, but at the end of a round, these types are going to move down or up depending on how many people went there. There's 2 numbers. If you're the only person to go, you'll get more food. If multiple people go, then you get less food. And again, it depends on how plentiful it is. And these are animals that you'll be able to hunt and can, with poison, be able to get more of them. Placing workers here simply lets you process food, moving it down the lines on your board. And then down at the bottom of the board, you have places to get tools where you'll have cards that will help you as you process your different foods. Different types of food, you'll be able to, build some combos up there. If you don't know what else to do, you can put people down here to get 2 happiness points. At the end of a round, you need to be able to feed all your people. You'll be able to spend extra 2 food to create more people to bring them into the game. You can spend food plus celebration food to get extra bonus points. And you're going to do that for several rounds. At the end of all those rounds, you'll look at some cards you had at the beginning of the game where you look for combos of food, add those points to your score, and whoever has the most is the winner. So this isn't necessarily a bad game. There's some things I don't like. I don't like the middle, the food resources going up, down, because it's so volatile, it just gets boring. Oh, we ate this food, so now the food over here is more plentiful. Oh, well, I'll go over here and eat this food, so now this food's more plentiful. Well, that food's not plentiful, but I have some cards that make it better for me, so now I'm going to go over there. It's interesting, but Who is looking around and thinks that the process of feeding your people in a game, something you have to do or you lose points, a mechanism games use, I'm not a huge fan of it. Who thought that we wanted a whole game around it? Sure, I like the little spreadsheet thing, that board I showed you with the food moving around. That's interesting. Unfortunately, the rest of the game is dull. Building monuments, boring. Getting some cards, fine. A spot where you can get 2 people. Having more workers at the end of a round. That stuff is just, it's okay at best. The feed your people mechanism is the most interesting part. And again, I'm not sure who's asking for that. But the getting the food and processing the food, there's some interesting things there, but not enough to make me want to keep coming back to this. But if you think feeding your people is the most fun part of Agricola, boy, do I have the game for you. So Uluk has some interesting ideas, the asymmetrical player boards, and that it's almost refreshing on how it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. And if you think about it, back in these days, that is a good chunk. I mean, if these people are, well, they're badgers here. I don't understand the theme of this, but that's all, a lot of life is focused around getting food and building monuments, I suppose. But you would not notice from the cover that I look at the big monument, see this lady carrying a basket of food? That's what this game is about. Uluk. Sushi Boat is from Japanime Games and had a lot of people wanting to play it. Why? Because when you open the box, look at this wooden board that's going to have sushi plates that move around it. Now, you're a little interested from that, but here's how it plays. In this game, you're just trying to collect sushi. You're going to be forming a plate of sushi in front of you here, or a stack of plates, and each group of plates you have at the end of the game is worth that many points minus 1. So this will just be worth 1 point, but if I have 3 yellow plates together, 2 points, so on and so forth. Also, you're trying to get as many different sushi as you possibly can get, and you'll get points for that. It shows you on here how much they are worth. On your turn, the first thing players will do is they're going to turn over a side dish card. And this is basically going to tell you how you move this. Sometimes it'll just move to fill in empty spots, but sometimes you'll move it till one falls into the trash. And so you simply draw a disc from the bag and move it here, and we'll have a pile of trash here, which you can occasionally go into. That side dish is available for people to purchase. You can spend a coin at the end of your turn to take it. You're then going to put your pawn on a spot nobody else is. When you go there, you can take a special action, which can be buying the top card of the trash for a coin, using the ability of the person who's at your spot. Like this person says, take the plate from the opposite of the board. So you can get those, but you have to pay a coin for those. And then when you're done, wherever you're sitting, you're going to eat the sushi plate at that spot and put it on the top of your stack. You can buy these cards also to use them in the future. Sometimes when you turn over the top card, it's going to say wasabi, and then there's a wasabi challenge, and everyone has to remember the hidden ones in here. See, in here, you'll see there's a green, white, and blue, and when you are trying, you're going to just put some wasabi cubes on the colors you think are in there, the ones that nobody can see. If you're right, then you're going to keep those wasabi cubes where there'll be points for the end of the game. There's a few other things, but it's mostly about putting out somebody, adding sushi, putting somebody out, possibly using a special ability or getting money, and then adding dishes to get points at the end of the game. When you've gone through the stack of cards, whoever has the most points is the winner. Folks, I love the production of this. The wooden board, the plates, the fact, you have your little, this holds the components, a little chopstick box, and I have another little box to hold the cards, and the plates are great. The only negative thing about these plates is they fit together so well that in the bag, you mix them together, and instead of they just all stick together in big clumps in the bag. You have to take them apart with your hands when you pull them out. But that's the only negative thing about components. The rest of it looks great. Gameplay, though, it's okay. You put a thing in, you flip a card over, you move the stuff, you do that weird memory, wasabi thing. That's kind of a weird thing that happens every once in a while. And so you have to memorize. You have to sit there and memorize the whole time. I'm remembering. Okay, it finally happened. It's kind of a weird thing to have in a game. And then you pick special abilities. The special abilities I don't love so much because you can put out, you can pay a coin to use a special ability, or pay a coin to take something, or you can get a coin on your turn. So after a few turns, you're like, well, this is my turn with no money. I'll take a coin. Next turn, I'll spend it. Next turn, I'll take it. I suppose maybe there will be a turn where you don't want to spend it, and then you you can get another coin. That's just a weird thing. Taking the plates is fine because you're trying to get a bunch of the plates in the same row, and hopefully that works out, but sometimes it just doesn't, and you can't control that. And then trying to get various different types of sushi at the end of the game. It's nice, it's thematic. I think a lot of people would like this. I can see it as being sold at, let's say, like a Walmart type store or something. You know, it's almost a mass market appeal. And again, very, very high production, but it's too light for me without any real choices. So, nice looking, but a little empty. Sushi Boat, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I didn't dislike playing it, I just wanted there to be more involved. And there you go, folks, that is 6 reviews. We have Sushi. We have Feeding Your People, not with sushi. We have the gorgeous Castles by the Sea. We have the unrecognizable Ahau. The terrible Yahtzee Frenzy. The party game Sides. And then this abomination, Sabobatage. 7 games, 7 reviews. Remember, you can find these reviews if you just want to see short little reviews on our channel, Dice Tower Encore. But until next time, you're watching the Dice Tower, and I'm Tom Vasel.